Hey, True Believers, England here with another Top 10 Comics Sold to Readers. This is the list that tells about what comic book readers are leaving their shops with, preferably after paying, of course. After we count down the floppies, we're going to go on over to Comixology, world's largest digital comic book shop, to see what people are buying digitally, see who wins the week. Is it Marvel, is it DC, or do the independents finally get a win? It's from Bleeding Cool, so if you need to, take it with a grain of salt. These are the comic book shops that took place in the countdown and the commentary, so if you're ever in their area, stop by, say hi, and don't forget, support your own local comic book shop. And with that aside, let's get this party started. Starting the hard copy countdown at number 10, we have The Amazing Spider-Man 51.LR. At number 9, we have The Avengers number 38. In the number 8 slot, we have Deceased Dead Planet number 5. Coming in at number 7, Justice League number 56. In the number 5 slot, Wolverine Black, White, and Blood number 1. At number 5, we have The Marauders. Coming in at number 4 is Crossover number 1. At number 3, we have Thor number 9. And in the runner-up spot at number 2, we have X-Men number 14. Leaving Batman number 102 to take the number 1 spot. Well, that's a bit of curb stomping. You know, I've never hidden the fact I'm a DC fan, and there's only 3 in the countdown this week. Wow. Marvel had 4, and of course, no, Marvel had 6, and Independence had 1. That was crossover, Donny Cates crossover. Yeah, what you gonna do, man? You know, I just don't see it. I get it, I'm not a fan, I'm not saying everybody should follow everything I say or anything like that, but I just don't get the Marauders, the X-Men, every damn time. I just, yeah, it's always in the countdown, always towards the top. Occasionally you'll get one that's near the bottom or one smack dab in the middle or something like that, but you can't argue with the results. People are buying it, seriously. Maybe I should go back and read it, I don't know. Anyway, that's what I have to say about the countdown. So now we're going to find out what the comic book shops have to say about the countdown, and then we're going to go over to Comixology, world's largest comic book shop, digital comic book shop, and see who wins the digital week. Fingers crossed, my DC does a little bit better there. You never know, right? Alrighty. Well, all that aside, let's get this party started. Well, restarted. Sailfish Comics says it was a bit of a lighter week from both Marvel and DC, with Batman and X-Men carrying the brunt of the sales, and a healthy boost from Donny Cates' new book Crossover, which clocked in at 3rd. Marvel ultimately had the most titles in the top 10 by virtue of having more come out. And in general, but it's worth noting that this is one of those rarer weeks in which Boom and Image both got titles in our bestseller list, with a Mighty Morphin relaunch performing well. I like Boom, by the way. And as a matter of fact, I think I've got Crossover hanging around here. After I make the video, I'm going to read it for our We've Got Issues reviews. Although I've already heard not good stuff about it, so fingers crossed. I'm behind on my comics at the comic shop because I stopped buying for a month to save up for that big warehouse sale that my comic shop had. And I told them, look, I'm going to pick everything up, don't worry about it. But I've got to go through stuff because there's a pile like that big of books that I still need to buy from the 1 month. I'm like, dude, that's way too much. But I digress. I'm getting off topic here. Mighty Morphin is waiting for me, so hopefully that's good. But we're going to find out what Crossover is like tonight. Famous Faces and Funnies says, Donny Cates stand on the top of the FFF Weekly Top 10 with Crossover taking the number 1 spot. Thor hitting number 3, and Web of Venom Empires rounding out the list at number 10. Crossover was a big hit at our store, as I'm sure it was almost everywhere. But sales were definitely bolstered by our store-exclusive cover drawn by the incredible Cara Moline. Almost every regular opted for a copy, which is great to see. I really believe in this book, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Batman, of course, was near the top of the list at number 2. Three Jokers number 3 is still selling incredibly well. And that's a title we'll be selling regularly for a while. Another book that has some staying power is Spawn number 311, specifically the Chadwick Boseman homage cover. We are still selling a good amount of those covers between the full color and the black and white. as well as one or two of the others. It was our number 7 book this week, a comic we probably could have sold more of was the Wolverine Black, White, and Blood, but the misprint meant that we had to take the variants off the shelf and missed out on some of those sales. Hopefully those people still care about the book when it's printed properly. X-Men and Marauders both hit the top 10 at number 6 and number 9 respectively. And everyone who was going to jump onto the X of Swords already has. Now we play the game of seeing who slowly drops off as the event winds up and then down. A misprint Wolverine cover I didn't hear about. Okay, that makes sense because I was looking, usually I'll get the books, even though I've got this pile, I'll still peruse the shelf, what's a good number 1 and everything. And I said, nah, I know I could probably get this Wolverine somewhere cheaper and everything, so I'm not, you know, it's one of those things. It's yet another Marvel number 1, and that's going to come in, it's going to go, and I didn't think anything of it, so I walked right by it. I got crossover number 1. That's something, right? That's going to be a big deal. No, I'm like a gauge. Like whatever I pass by, get that, because that's the one that people are going to be interested in. It's going to go up in value. What you going to do? Finally, Graham Cracker Comics says, very nice to see any indie book hit the top 10 first time in months. Hope crossover could keep the interest going. Everything else was the usual suspects. I kind of read suspects and ranking at the same time. Let me try that again. Everything else was the usual suspects ranking as they tend to rank. Weird thing is and this is weird to me anyway, so maybe this is a topic we can talk about on We've Got Issues. You and I'm guessing you're not a casual comic book reader if you're going to comic book channels. We go into the comic shops all day. We see comic book covers all day. We know who's at Marvel. We know who's at DC. We know the independent characters. So why are even we stuck so hard on Marvel and DC? Especially when a lot of times we're not getting the writing that used to be there. We're not getting the art that used to be there. And we'll stick around and we'll pass right by that independent. And by that I'm using a general. Some people will go straight to the independents. Obviously, I do myself. You know, I check out independent comic books all the time, and sometimes I do it for, oh well, that looks interesting, and sometimes I do it just because I think maybe I'll put a review in here. But even independent comic book reviews don't do as well as Marvel or DC. And the words, oh my gosh, Marvel suck, will definitely call in people into a video. But that's the thing, we're used to it. It's like hearing that same ad or seeing that same ad over and over again. Does it start working on you more, or does it work on you less? Because more than anything, we should be the ones that aren't affected by mainstream comics, that we can get off the boat a little bit and go and see what's on the other island. But I don't know, even we prop up Marvel and DC. Even I do. I mean, I'm not blaming. This is not a guy living in a glass house casting a stone. I actually talk to myself. I do buy some independents, but I'm more apt to go for the main characters. But I think there's a video on that. I think there's an answer on that one, and it popped in my head. But I'm thinking if I will make an individual video for it, I want the answer to be there, not here. So that is what all the comic book shops have to say about this. Let's go over to Comixology, see who wins the digital week. Starting the digital countdown at number 10, we have Dark Multiverse's Batman Hush. At number 9, we have Justice League number 56. Coming in at number 8, we have Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, number 38. At number 7 is Star Wars, number 8. Coming in at number 6, Thor, number 9. Just doesn't sound the same without Gale. In the number 5 slot is Deceased, Hope at World's End, number 13. At number 4 is Deceased Dead Planet, number 5. At number 3 is Batman 102. In the runner-up position at number 2 is The Marauders, number 14. And number 1 on the digital countdown is X-Men number 14. Alrighty, so DC lost. By numbers, they're even. It's 5 and 5. But I was looking it up. I go, okay, it's 5 and 5. How can I declare a winner or a loser in this if it's 5 and 5? And then I did that whole thing where if number 10 is 1 point and number 1 is 10 points, and I added it up, and it's like DC got 24 points for their positions, and Marvel 31, because of course they have number 1 and number 2. 3, 4, and 5, however, DC. Number 6 and 7 and 8 were no, number 6 and 7, I think, or something like that, was Marvel again. But once again, numerically they're even, but I've got to give it to Marvel for the moral win anyway. That's a decent way to plan it, though. That's a decent way to do it. I think I might. I think I might continue that numeric way, just for my fun. I mean, this whole countdown really is, I like it. I like putting Marvel versus DC. I'm from that generation where we really did. It was like, oh, I'm a Marvel, I'm a DC, you know, that kind of guy. But I was always a little bit of both. But I'm just like DC about that much better. It used to be like that much better, but now it's like leaps and bounds. Anyway, I digress. Let's go on. Let's expand this out to the top 20 and see if DC can't do any better. I know Marvel usually has that back 10, so we'll see. We'll see. And remember, it was mentioned that Marvel just had more coming out this week. At number 11, we have The Amazing Spider-Man number 51 LR. It is Marvel 6, DC 5. Number 12 gives us Young Justice number 20. It is Marvel 6, DC 6. Crossover number 1 steps in at number 13, so there will be a clear winner today. At number 14, we have Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 20, Marvel 7, DC 6. Number 15 is Guardians of the Galaxy number 8, Marvel 8, DC 6. Captain Marvel number 23 is at 16. It's Marvel 9, DC 6. And Black Widow number 3 at number 17 wins it for Marvel. It's 10 Marvel, DC 6. Thanks to crossover, there's no way DC is going to pull out a win here. And at number 18, The Boys Dear Becky number 6 kind of makes it even harder for DC to make a show here. At number 19, Hellblazer Rise and Fall number 2 tries to help out DC, but it is too little and too late. And at number 20, we have Cyberpunk 2077 Trauma Team. And there you go, gang. It is Marvel 10, DC 7, and Independence 3. Which, okay, let's face it, that's not a bad thing. Independents are making a show. I would prefer Marvel to lose out, but as it was said, they just put out more books also. I would just prefer to see DC rise and Independents rise, and I'm not a big fan of Marvel these days. They've got Daredevil, and they need to keep it good because the last couple of issues were alright. But there you go. As a DC fan, I'm like, yeah, you could have done better, bro. As Marvel won, of course, last week we had the DC blowout, and yes, I got to bring it up this time. I'm very happy to see independent comics make a showing. Check those out as well. If you haven't given it a try, there are some good independent comic books coming out. I really should just do one show around independence just to show off what's good and what I read, though I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm gonna be picking that up or anything. But I digress. What do you think? What's in the countdown that shouldn't be? Captain Marvel. And what isn't that what isn't that should be, and what is that shouldn't be? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, ring the notification bell if you haven't done it already. Make sure that the notifications are set on all, because you don't want to miss anything. Cool things happen around these parts. Also, if you don't mind helping out the channel, going over to Patreon or to Ko-Fi, links in the description below, or to members only over at Old Man Comics, and yeah, drop $1 in the till. This is the way we're trying to keep the lights on and trying to make a living. So I appreciate everything. I appreciate everyone who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.